Welcome to GC Cars. My name is Eric.
And I'm Jesse.
And today we're going to see if the TLX Type-S is the ultimate premium sports sedan. So competitors include the Genesis G70 Sport, the Infiniti Q50S, and depending on your definition, even the Type R or the Integra Type-S.
But first, looking at the exterior, we have urban gray pearl.
Yes, so I think that's a very sharp looking car, and there's something really interesting about this TLX. So this is obviously Acura owned by Honda, right?
Yeah.
So you might be thinking, oh, is this based on an Accord? Because kind of the same size. It is, however, not. It's its own platform, its own dedicated platform. And if you look at very specifically the dash to axle ratio up front, you might be thinking this is very long, this is a rear drive biased car. It is not. They just made it look like one. It is still a front engine, like a front biased car. The base is just front drive. This, however, is the all-wheel drive version, so they kind of cheated the looks a little bit, but will it cheat the driving dynamics as well? It's going to be pretty interesting. I do like how this looks, though, overall.
The color I like, it's almost like a Nardo gray type color. It's really nice.
It's very similar, yeah. Black accents everywhere.
Very sharp front end. I like the headlights. It looks nice.
My favorite part, I think, are actually the wheels, because they don't cover a lot. You can see right on the brake rotors, you see your Brembo brakes.
Yep.
You guys on Instagram, by the way, voted 92% that this thing looks good, which is very, very high. And of course, if you want to vote in future videos, check the Instagram link in the description. I think it's a very sharp looking car. The rear end, definitely a little unique with those taillights. It's a little like quirky.
Yep.
But it looks great. I love those quad vibes.
Yep, I'm liking the little black whale tail here.
Yeah, and I like it a lot. But I think it is time to take it down the road in this rainy weather, and we'll see if, what do you think? I think corner entry understeer into oversteer out at the end. What do you think?
Let's see if we hold traction at all.
Yeah. Now out in the TLX Type-S, we got Sport Plus, traction control off. Let's see how quick she goes. Brake torque, let the boost build. Yep, that's pretty good. There we go.
Okay. Woo!
Okay.
First thing I'm noticing, a lot of pumped in sound.
Yeah, a lot. Well, I switched to manual shifting.
It's showing peak PSI was 17 there.
17 PSI, yeah, I like the little gauge.
That's cool.
Kind of thing, and manual shifting once again. We're in fourth. Woo, and it's pretty capable. So let's talk about the drivetrain first of all. We got the same drivetrain that we've also had in the MDX Type-S. So that's a 3-liter turbocharged V6 producing 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. Interestingly, a little less torque than horsepower, which is not very usual for turbo engines. All-wheel drive, as said, and
0 to 60, what, 4.6 I believe is rated?
about, yeah. And you know what? That's a pretty good number. And it drives actually quite well. So I'm often very vocal about my dislike for front drive based systems because I hate understeer. Understeer and I, we just don't get along. You know, I like stuff that tries to kill me all the time, like Challengers and stuff. However, this system is actually set up that about 70% of the torque can be sent to the rear wheels, and of those 70%, 100% can be sent to either wheel, left or right in the rear. So it's actually surprisingly neutral going into a corner and going out of a corner.
You can kick the rear end out.
You can actually kick the rear end out, which is, if I would be driving this car without knowing that it's front drive based, honestly, I wouldn't. Type R, coming soon. I wouldn't know. I would say it's the way it's tail happy. Oh, there we go. It's actually, yeah. It's not gonna be quite, it's not quite like a CT4V Blackwing or anything.
Wow,
that's like super tail happy, but it's actually really dynamically capable. And the drivetrain, yes, of course, some competitors might have more power.
Yep.
But I think this kind of hits the sweet spot at 355 horsepower.
355 horsepower, 354 torque.
Which is, I mean, we've driven the Q50S last year, which
Red
had
Sport.
400 horsepower. Yeah, it's a little faster, but I don't feel like I'm really missing out on it. I think this has a good amount.
And this has more, gives you more confidence, right? The Q50 was kicking out a lot, more than we wanted.
100%. And yes, that was a review that we did in the wet. However, we started driving here today when it was red, as you probably saw in the exterior segment. It wasn't that dry of a day. But this is actually really well set up. I also like the automatic transmission, which reacts fairly well to my shifts. And by itself, it reacts pretty well, kind of knows what gears I want to be in. I don't really have the need to shift by myself. It often overrides you, which is a bit annoying. If you put it into sport and then you can shift yourself and then it won't override you. Will it auto upshift?
Yep.
So you can't bang off the limiter, but...
Yeah, it doesn't give you full semi-automatic control.
Yeah, exactly. Fully semi-automatic, right?
Yeah, fully semi-automatic, yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned already, this actually drives surprisingly well. We have P0s on here.
Yes.
They are very grippy tires, but it's a very confident, inspiring drive. I would say the grip is quite big, as we're just gonna put it into comfort mode for a second because there's a bike race going on, and we're safe drivers.
And we love cyclists.
We love cyclists. Shout out cyclists. If you're a cyclist, I love you. But the turn-in is really good. It powers you out. The chassis and the suspension, we have the adaptable suspension, do a really good job of kind of keeping the car planted.
Yep.
I don't love the steering.
For daily driving, suspension's a little bit harsh, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely more geared towards the fun driving aspect. And even this is not a bad road. This is a really good road overall. A couple of bumps here and there.
You feel it.
But even though it's we're normal right now, and I feel like every little imperfection on the road, bump. And yeah, like you said, in daily driving, it can get a little much.
A little much.
But when you push it, which I'm not going to do fully here because bike race, no, it's pretty good. Like I said, the steering, not super communicative, but it loads up fairly well once you kind of approach the limit of your front end tires. So you do have a pretty good gauge of what's going on and quite a lot of confidence overall.
So yeah, one thing I wish, it's for me the pumped in noise is a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah.
I'd like to substitute some fake noise for some more real noise.
Yeah, it is very noticeable in the Sport Plus. So once we set into our individual mode, which is pretty much the same, just the engine and all that kind of chilled down a little. If I'm flooring now,
it's 20% less.
Yeah, the sound just quietens down a little bit. The sounds very similar still, but compared to it's I don't love pumped in noise. It's a little drony too.
Yeah, like in my car, I remove the fuse, just eliminate.
Yeah, apparently you have to pop the panel with the start-stop button. I did not research it at all. But, oh man, I do enjoy how this drives. Okay, so downhill you do feel some of that understeer coming in, but the steering does communicate the limit very well, so I never lose confidence in this car, actually. But yeah, sorry. And also it doesn't we had one pop.
I would like some more character, and maybe that's an Acura thing where they don't want to have too much of that
luxurious
noise,
right?
But personally, when I'm driving a car like this, I want an engagement. I want the character, the pops, and nothing too crazy. It doesn't need to be gunshots.
Yeah.
But just some noise.
Yeah, we had one pop, I think, on one upshift, which was quite nice. But that's the only one we've had all week. Let's see if we can get another one here.
A tiny bit. I feel like
full on throttle.
I feel like they're purposefully subduing it.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's good though. Honestly, it's fun to drive. This is more fun to drive than I expected.
Yep.
I quite like it actually. I quite like how this drives. Do we want to swap seats though? Talk about the interior and daily driving, and then form a conclusion?
Let's do it. Okay, so we talked about suspension already. I send it to this corner. Nice. So the suspension is a little bit firm, right?
Yeah. And when daily driving, it is you definitely compromise.
But not a deal breaker.
No, you can handle it. Handle it.
Handle it. Haha. Dad joke. But space-wise,
it's quite nice. Okay. I'm still not granting Acura the rank of luxury. I'm still only granting it premium.
Yeah.
There's still cheap plastics in spots where a real luxury car doesn't have plastic. It
handles well, actually.
It's right. It's actually I'm actually really surprised. It was a front.
To be fair, what tires did we have on the Q50? I actually forget.
Bridgestone's terrible tires. Oh god.
Okay, so that's not really a fair comparison. To be fair, I know there's going to be Q50 owners out there that hate us.
Yes.
We're trying to be fair here. This does have better tires.
Yes, it definitely has better tires. However, if we once again go to daily driving, they're quite noisy, the PC roads.
They are noisy.
It's like, I don't notice much wind noise, but you definitely hear that road, like the road noise and the rolling. It's quite noticeable on longer drives, and it does require you to speak up a little bit once you're at highway speeds. But yeah, they're capable. They're really capable.
But that was a segue. We're talking about space. So yeah, back on topic. Talking about the interior here, it is a nice interior, but I agree with you. This is not a luxury interior.
Yeah, it's just not quite there. Like, there's some nice touches and good leathers, but yeah.
You can see the compromises.
Yeah, and all this piano black. The center stack is still, I appreciate the physical buttons. Very convoluted looking though.
Very convoluted.
It's comfy though. Like, I'm comfortable. I like these seats.
They're nice. I do question like the suede choice. For me, it's like you spill something on that, it's kind of hard to clean. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sloppy animal, but
maybe you are. You just gotta live with the look. You gotta have some fun. They're very adjustable.
They look
bolsters. Nice. The cushion is extendable from both sides actually,
which is cool. Which
is really nice. Heated, ventilated, not simultaneous.
Yeah.
And I just like the red interior. It's still a gaudy, but
it's sharp.
You know.
Sharp.
I kind of dig it. It's a decent space. Rear seat space, for the most part, is
pretty good. Headroom will be limited if you're above 6 feet.
Yeah, it's not the most spacious, but it's okay. And for the trunk, you'll have to consider that while the trunk at 13.5 cubic feet is fairly decently sized, if you put down those second row seats, well, the rear seats, there is a brace. There's a cross brace. So any larger items probably won't fit in there, even if you
no
put
IKEA
down
for you.
Yeah, well, I was able to pick up a picture from IKEA because it just cleared the cross.
For me, though, that's a bit of an issue.
It's a compromise, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can just unscrew that thing and take it out and like lose a little bit of structure.
I don't think so.
Probably
I don't think
not.
so.
It's probably mounted to the frame and
it's
all
probably
that
welded,
part.
yeah.
But yeah, that is a compromise to be made. So some other competitors, the Q50 didn't have that, right?
No, it did not.
No, it did not. So you kind of have to pick and choose a little bit, which I think where we can already kind of start forming a conclusion. So this as-spec'd in Canada is about $66,500 Canadian.
And the Yankees get totally owned on this one. I don't know.
Oh yeah, so
jeez.
This car, as-spec'd, $62,500 US dollars. So that's like $86,000. I don't know why you guys pay $20K over.
It's a rare Canada W. I don't know what's going on.
Like, Jesus Christ, guys. I don't know. Okay. So for all you Americans, this car makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Ignore
don't buy it. Don't
G70
buy it.
or something like that.
Or M340i.
M340i. And for us Canadians, however, this is priced equal to the Q50.
Yep. Below
the G70. About $10,000 below an M340i that is somewhat similar spec.
Yeah.
C43 is $90,000. We're going to completely forget about that thing.
And if you're looking at the Type R, it's like $10K above the Type R. Not directly comparable, but people are comparing them.
Yes.
It seems.
So our real competitor here, I think, is we're going to be in the G70 later this year, but the Q50. And honestly, for pretty much the same price, this is not quite as fast, but I'm picking this.
It's more refined, right? The Q50 is like a 10-year-old design.
Yeah.
You're dealing with outdated tech and a design all around that hasn't changed in 10 years.
Yeah, I didn't like the steering, I think, in the Q50, if I remember correctly. The tires, of course, you can change that, but the tires are garbage from the factory. This is just the better driving car. Of course, if you don't care about tech, Q50 is a little faster and has a lot to offer. And I think the interior is actually a little nicer in the Q50. It had more leathers. But I think from a driver engagement point and from a daily driving ability, this beats out the Q50. So I think that really sums it up. I like this. I like this TLX Type-S.
I do too.
More than I expected. Good car, and for the money, I can totally see why people would buy it. So yeah, I think it's a 1 thumbs up, not 2, but 1 thumbs up.
1 thumbs up for sure. Well, one thing we didn't mention, was these Brembos.
So they feel very good. They're very progressive, and they have a lot of bite. They do have a lot of bite.
That was pretty. That was pretty impressive.
That was really good.
Honestly, that was like 10 feet. And we're back up to 100. Okay.
Anyhow, that is the Acura TLX Type-S. Thank you for watching this video on JC Cars. Pure testosterone! Oh! What the is this piece of shit?
If you guys liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell and subscribe. Should I just drive into a tree now, or?
And we'll see you next Friday at 8:15 a.m. Eastern for a whole lot more fun. Bye-bye.